Guys, weight loss is freaking hard. Heather Combs has done it. She's cracked the code. She's down over 100 pounds. And in this episode of the podcast, we're going to learn from her about what mindset strategies, diet strategies, exercise strategies. What did it take for her to do what so many of us are trying so hard to do? Learn the real story in this episode of the podcast. Tune in and take notes.
Welcome to the CrossFit Edwardsville Community Podcast, where we hear and learn from our coaches, CrossFitters, and Glen Ed community leaders. Now, here are your hosts, Dallas and Greg.
What is up, guys? It's Coach G. I'm one of the coaching team here at CrossFit Edwardsville, and in today's episode of the podcast, we get to talk to and learn about one of our real CFE CrossFitters, a real person who's done really amazing things. We get to capture one hell of a success story and an amazing CrossFitter, the amazing Heather Combs. Heather, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, thank you for having me.
So Heather officially became a part of our CrossFit Edwardsville community in July of 2023, about a year ago, as part of the CrossFit onboarding program. And since that time, she's accumulated a year's worth of workouts with us. But more importantly, she's taken her physique, her health, her mindset, her life to an entirely new level. And we're going to talk about that in this episode of the podcast. Outside the gym, Heather is an aspiring healthy living influencer. She's a wife, she's a mother, and notably, she has one of the most impressive physical transformations we've seen, having lost over 100 pounds. And in today's episode, we'll pick her brain to learn the keys to successful transformation. We have a lot to cover, so if you're okay with it, Heather, we'll jump right in.
Absolutely.
All right, so the question everyone has, is this for real? Did you really lose that much weight? Is it really possible for a real person?
Well, yes, it's real, and it is absolutely possible for anybody, depending on where they are in their journey and when they want to get started. It's really important to have a plan. It's really important to have the mindset and to be ready to make the changes that you need to make. And follow whatever journey is appropriate for you for getting started. Whether that be simply diet and exercise, weight loss surgery, any other form of fitness, it all goes together.
So I wanted to ask, can we show for our video viewers, can we show a before and after photograph, so just so that our video viewers can get a visual of the transformation that you've done?
Yeah.
So I'll do a super quick screen share of before and after featured from your Facebook profile. And all the audio listeners won't capture this, but just picture the most mind-blowing, most amazing before and after transformation you could probably imagine. This is Heather, and this is actually really hard, I think, for a lot of people to wrap their heads around, is this kind of change. Like what goes through your mind? Like what do you think when you actually look at this? Do you see how far you've come, Heather?
Well, first off, I'm proud. Second off, I sometimes can't even believe that it's me in the second picture and that this is what I look like now, because I spent 28 years of my life looking like the first photo. So it's kind of mind-blowing and, a little bit of a mind situation whenever you are looking at yourself and it almost doesn't seem like you, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it is absolutely mind-blowing. And we're really interested to get into the story and the steps that made this possible for you. So before we do, though, like, physical change, when it happens, is really only a small part of the benefits that you experience, right? Like, this spills into other areas of life. Like, what other positive changes have come along with this? Like personal bests in the gym, new abilities, feeling better, enhanced quality of life. Like what else has benefited from your physical transformation, Heather?
First and foremost, I'm able to keep up with my two young daughters. I have a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old, and they do not stop. So I spend a lot of my day chasing them around. Simply going to the zoo was a taxing physical experience for me for so many years of their lives, because I just couldn't keep up and I was exhausted. I actually now can go to the zoo and walk miles. And I also even rode a camel at Eckert's with my oldest daughter.
Wow.
I would have been heavier than the weight limit for that camel just a year ago. So like
Wow.
that was huge. And then as far as in the gym, I surprised myself by learning that I can lift heavy and I can move
Sure.
heavy things. And sometimes it's hard to understand that I can lift heavier than the amount of weight I've lost. I don't know how I physically carried that weight around
Oh,
until I
sure.
started CrossFit and can deadlift 200 pounds.
Right.
And I'm like, that's crazy wild to me that that kind of change has happened. Again, with like it's mental because it's hard to believe that I am capable of doing those things, but every day in there I find something new that I'm capable of.
So, all right, now I think we've blown everybody's minds. We'll get into some of the details here. Like, anytime we learn about somebody having a transformation, we're always super interested to learn like how you did it. And obviously, anytime there's a transformation, there are multiple factors at play. There's aspects of exercise, nutrition, mindset, and so on. Um, Anything like you want to preface before we get into talking about mindset and diet, nutrition? I think we should preface before we go into those questions.
Um, no, honestly, the mental aspect was the hugest part for me, and it plays the biggest foundation in making the change. For me, it meant that I had to accept that I had to have weight loss surgery. That was a hard thing to come to terms by because 80% of my stomach was cut out of my body and basically thrown into the trash. So like a huge chunk of who I am was cut out of me. And
Literally.
yeah, and I had to mentally be okay with knowing that I'm going to live the rest of my life with about 20% of my stomach. So that was the biggest mental change for me, and being willing to accept that my surgery date was going to become what we call my second birthday, because my life started 1 year ago on the 7th of June of last year. And my new life has begun.
Was that it? Really? We're that close. So as we
Very
record
close.
this podcast, we're in early June. Gosh, almost to the day
Yeah.
a year ago. Wow. Okay. So then what other mindset shifts or mental turning points have empowered you for your transformation? Like what changed mentally? What else for Heather?
My relationship with food was a very much emotional and mental relationship. If I was sad, I wanted to eat something. If I was happy, I wanted to celebrate by going to eat something. If I was angry about something, I would just be like, "Oh, I'm just gonna go through a drive-through. I don't feel like doing anything else." Everything was rooted in eating, and it all connected to my mental health. I had to heal my mental health before I could heal my physical body. And I feel like I've done that because I do not, now I eat for like sustainability and to live and to give my body what it needs. I don't eat for emotion and emotional support anymore.
And that is such an incredible shift to happen because we have this conversation with folks a lot, and it's, I think, extremely normal for a lot of folks to use food as a way of medicating negative feelings or celebrating great things that happen in our lives, right? So many people have this ups and downs relationship with food, or you might even like classify it as an abuse of food. Like I use food as a temporary band-aid to cover up bad feelings that I'm struggling with. And then culturally, we're so used to using food like something wonderful happened for us or our kids or our spouse. Let's celebrate by eating negative foods. Can we hang out with this just for a second? Like, what helped Heather Combs move into a food is fuel for my best life? It is not an emotional crutch for me. How did that shift happen? Or can you speak to that a little bit?
I started kind of looking back at my childhood and my upbringing and my relationship with food and how young it started to become a negative thing. And nobody really taught me how to eat for fuel and to prioritize protein and to eat green vegetables and fruit. So like I didn't really like a lot of those things, or I thought I didn't until I just one day with my daughter's at her doctor's appointment, They were telling me like we need to make sure that we're watching her weight, like so it's not fluctuating into the higher percentiles and things like that. And it clicked for me that had I had that shift young, someone teaching me that shift at Katana's age, then maybe things would have been different for me. So it was really my daughter's paired with my own childhood, and my whole family loves food. I mean, I still love food. Don't get me wrong. I'm still a foodie. That just is what it is. But it's a matter of eating for sustainability and moving forward and what's going to fuel my body for, say, my workout coming up versus, oh, let's celebrate that Jake got a promotion by going to Texas Roadhouse and smashing a whole basket of rolls.
Yeah, I feel you on that. And this is really interesting. First, I have a heart for helping to break the cycle because like I didn't grow up on healthy eating habits. I had to learn it later. And my heart goes out, my heart breaks for kids that effectively like they're set up for a lifetime of struggling with their weight and struggling with self-image and struggling with self-love because they don't know how to eat in a healthy way. They don't have that healthy relationship with food, and it makes everything for the rest of their life harder. And one of the things definitely motivates me also is setting an example for my son so that he never has that struggle. He never has to break years, decades of terrible eating habits to undo the damage. You know what I mean?
Right.
But this mindset shift in how to look at food, what have been your nutrition keys to success? And you talked about sustainability, right? Maybe more broadly, new perspectives or paradigms that empowered you from a healthy eating angle. Like, give us as much clarity as possible with what changed dietarily for Heather Combs.
Honestly, it was a shift from eating just kind of whatever made me happy to eating a very protein dominant diet. I was never really a big like chicken, fish, meat eater. That was never what was like the priority on my plate. I was all about, chips, potatoes, pasta, anything that's like, basically your carbs that are
The
not
processed ones in
not
particular.
yes, not giving you the most for the biggest bang for your buck, so you will. And so now I focus on making sure that even if I can't get anything else in because of how small my stomach is, that protein is the first choice. And I will load my plate with as much protein as I can, have some green veggies, maybe a fruit if I do have a sweet hankering for something to eat, something like a piece of watermelon or something just to give me the sweet so my brain feels like, oh, hey, she had sweets because the sugars in fruit are significantly better for you than the sugars
Amen.
in something processed. But sometimes I can't get past the protein. I'll eat 3 or 4 ounces of protein and be stuffed to the gills. And my bariatric nutritionist said that is fine as long as protein is the priority. So I just really focused.
I find this so interesting because like it sounds like you essentially design your meals the same way that I do. Because like it's always protein first. I do a ton of it, and then with the space left on my plate, I'll load it up with vegetables with a definite bias to green. Not that it's the only one. I love a lot of vegetables, but I have a particular affinity for broccoli. And if I want to have dessert, like after breakfast each day, I have dessert, which is raspberries, blueberries, strawberries. I freaking love it. It's amazing. And it helps to address that sweet craving. And I believe that fruit is the way that God intended for us to address a sweet craving. That is the candy we were supposed to have in the first place, not all the processed silliness that's made in factories. So it's fascinating how it parallels for us. Anyway, then on the exercise side for you, Heather, what have been your exercise keys to success? Or maybe broadly, like what changed for you exercise-wise in the last year?
So the biggest change for me was switching from the thought process of, oh my gosh, I have to go work out to, oh my goodness, I get to work out. Treating it more like a reward for my body instead of like a punishment. Because there was a time when I would have been absolutely seeing some of these workouts that are programmed and be like, there's no way I'm doing that. That sounds like awful. Like that is awful. That is the worst thing for me. Nope. No, thank you. I'm gonna stay at home. But now it's like, if it's difficult or it's challenging, it's rewarding for me,
Hmm.
because I'm 30 years old and I can physically move my body. So why would I not?
Sure. And I think that your perspective could be particularly valuable for other mothers out there who really struggle with the idea of taking any time to themselves. I hear that the concept of mom guilt is a very real thing that comes up a lot in conversations with women. They struggle to take an hour out of their day for themselves, and then they feel bad about letting the kids stay with somebody else. Like, did you ever have that mom guilt? And if so, like, how did you find your way around it? It sounds like maybe a part of your success was, this is a way I reward myself. I reward myself with this hour to me for exercise, or what was it for Heather Combs?
So at first I would feel really guilty. Now I'm like, all right, Jake, you take them, enjoy yourself. I gotta go. But at first, and sometimes the girls do get sad about me leaving, and then it's harder. But it was really just that. Like, when I had the surgery, Jake and I made the decision. He has been the most supportive person through this whole process. That this moment, this season is about me and me hitting the goals I want to hit and being successful in my journey and doing all the things that are important to make that happen. So he is very active about making sure that our girls are taken care of. We even sometimes, you've seen it, flip flop at CrossFit so that he can do a workout and then I can do a workout, so that neither one of us are sacrificing for the other, like sacrificing our own personal time for the other. And I really like that we have that. Without him, this would not happen.
I love it. So, if you kind of picture somebody just like yourself, Heather, maybe, they're a mom of young kids, they're married, they really struggle with their weight. And they're like, it feels overwhelming. It feels like the mountain is impossibly high. They start to doubt whether they'll ever succeed with having a healthy physique, a healthy life. They feel terrible about setting a bad example for their kids. They're like, I feel like I'm failing as a mom. I'm failing as a person. Like, somebody who is where you were before all this started, when you have all the difficulty, all the struggles. Like, what advice would you give to that person? They're just getting started. They've not lost a pound yet. What would you tell that person?
This will be the greatest journey of your life. Your body will thank you. Your mind will thank you. Um, no one else can get you going except you. You will get to your goals, and your kids will see you doing it. Having them watching you is the greatest driving factor, because they're proud. My daughters are so proud of me. They came to the open and watched me almost die by burpee. They and all they were saying was, "Yay, mama." Seeing them
Sure.
excited about what I'm doing. My oldest daughter does burpees in this room,
That's
just for
awesome.
fun. Like, she just enjoys it. So it's just you can't get started unless you get started, if that makes sense. And through patience and discipline, self-discipline, that you will absolutely get to your goals. And I promise you have this. It can be done, as you
That's
can
awesome.
see.
That's awesome. I love that. And I think one of the things that I find the most uplifting is, especially for daughters, when daughters see their parents, especially when they see their mom in a gym doing gym things. For so many girls, especially, the gym is a very big, very scary, intimidating, unsafe place. And when they get to later in life, like maybe they were skinny minis their whole life, and then they get into their 20s, their 30s, all of a sudden they can't get away with eating whatever. Now they're like, oh my gosh, now I have to go to the gym. But they've never really had a good experience with the gym before. They've never had a track record of, yes, girls can do this and look very feminine, right? I think it's one of the most empowering things for young girls to see their moms in the gym lifting weights and running and sweating, but not just doing those things, but realizing this is a safe place to do that. And it's a life affirming, rewarding thing to do. It's not just for the boys, if you know what I mean.
Right. Yeah, and the fitness community leans towards gentlemen, and that's okay. But right now, there's been a big uptick in lady CrossFitters that are just crushing goals and being incredible. And I love to see that groundwork being laid for what my daughters are going to be like as adults. The plan
Right.
is for them to want to do this too, and to look at
Right.
exercise as not as a chore, not as a job, as something that we enjoy doing as a
And it's
family.
and it's a regular part of your life. Like it's normal.
Yeah.
You're not weird to go to the gym. This is a normalized behavior for a female to do.
Yeah.
Well, let's have some fun with some lightning round questions. So we'll pick up the pace, go a little faster here, Heather. A year of CrossFit later, here's our first lightning round question. Your all-time favorite CrossFit workouts, go.
Okay, so call me nuts. I absolutely love Murph, and I love all the hero wads. I like why we do it. So I really enjoy all of those, even though they are all very difficult.
What's the hardest CrossFit workout you've ever done?
Oh, the 12 days of thankfulness, hands down.
That workout is ridiculous for sure. The 12 days workouts. Okay. Exercises or WODs you're the most excited to see in the programming? Like exercises, you're like, yes, I love this.
Another hot take, devil press. That's my favorite
Ooh.
movement. I really like something about them.
To the audience at home, if you don't know devil's press, it is probably the least popular exercise in all of CrossFit world. But hey, hot take here. Heather she's embraced them. You're closing in on veteran CrossFitter status, Heather. What is the number one mistake you see newbie CrossFitters making?
Focusing on strength over form, and then that's how we get injured. So it is more important to focus on your form than your strength. Your strength will come as long as your form is correct.
Amen to that. What is your number one goal in fitness right now?
All I'm thinking about right now is how Toon, Steph, Jake, and I are going to podium at Backlot Bout on the 22nd of June.
Let's go.
That is the plan.
So Heather has a CrossFit team competition coming up with some fun people from the gym. Very excited to see how it goes for you guys. Okay, so we got a few closing questions now to wrap it up. Tell us about your hobbies, your interests outside the gym. Like, what do you do for fun besides fitness? Tell us about your friends. This is a good opportunity to shout out your people, shout out your family. Drop some names here if you like.
Okay, so first off, I'm a painter. I love to paint canvases, wall art, windows, signs, all the things. That is my me time. That is my personal thing that I just do. But my favorite thing to do with my friends, even though I can't eat the way I used to eat, is going restaurant hopping. Jake and I are foodies, and we plan vacations around where we can eat. So we like to go to Oklahoma City and eat at this restaurant called The Local because my very best friend Mackenzie lives there. And we always go with her and her boyfriend and their kids to when we take our girls and we go eat there. The food is amazing. Everything. It's one location, so it's all authentic and it's just wonderful. And then with my other best friend in the whole world, his name is Ren, and we go down to Carbondale and eat at a hibachi restaurant because it's the only hibachi restaurant I even like. And we go down there with him regularly and we eat there. And those are like my two favorite things to do is to go with my friends to eat.
Okay. What's an unusual habit or absurd thing that you love?
Okay, so Jake helped me with this one and we both were like, yeah. I watch the same 3 shows over and over again and get mad when I'm interrupted. Like it's the first time I'm seeing it and I'm going to miss something. And it's Grey's Anatomy, Friends, and The Vampire Diaries. I can watch them all over and over again and be equally as angry when someone interrupts me.
Sure. You and Caroline would have that in common when it comes to Friends. Let's put it that way.
I love Friends. Such a good show.
All right. So last questions. If you could make only one statement to the world, what would it be, Heather? Or to put it another way, if you had to choose one thing to say on a billboard and it's going to be seen by thousands, maybe millions of people, what would that billboard say?
Your authenticity is your power. Being you is something you never need to apologize for.
I like that. Being you, something you should never apologize for. I feel like that's very powerful. So last question, Heather, as you look ahead in life, what most excites you about the future? What are you most looking forward to?
Watching my girls grow up and being healthy enough to do all the activities and all the things with them as they grow up.
That's That is exciting stuff there. So, Heather, if anybody wants to learn more about you or find out more about you, how could they do that?
They should follow my weight loss Instagram. It is Heather C VSG.
Let me see if I can add that. So that's at Heather C VSG.
Yep.
Let me see if I get that to our video viewers. Did I get that?
Yeah.
Awesome. At Heather C VSG. Got it.
That is my weight loss surgery Instagram.
Well, you can learn more about Heather there. Heather, amazing interview here. Thank you for sharing your insight, your knowledge, your journey with us. I think that there'll be others that are going to be inspired and empowered to go out and make positive changes, live their best life, and see a turnaround. You'll become the best mom, the best spouse, the best parent, the best version of themselves because of the insight you shared. So on behalf of everybody, thank you. Thank you for being you. Thank you for sharing your thoughts and your insight. It's been a great honor to interview you.
Thank you for having me. I love doing it.
All right. And to our audience, thanks for the gift of your time and your attention. And we will see you guys in the next episode of the podcast.